You could always send me questions through my website, drjoe.com. I really want to be your doctor. After being in practice 41 years, it's a fun place to be. It's a place where I can actually help people reach out and actually give back to the community after all these years, because I've worked hard. I've got a lot of information to share with you, and it hurts me when I see people suffering needlessly. And I think I have the answer for that. That's an easy one. That's a no-brainer. And the more I do this, the more I understand that we do have the answers. We have a lot of answers. And so I really want to be your doctor. I want to help get to the cause of your healthcare problems, not just treat the symptoms, because that's traditional. And we did several shows, if you listened the past couple of weeks, on traditional healthcare versus holistic healthcare. And so all our cameras are up now. So welcome, folks. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. The way this works, I'm going to talk for 24 minutes. Whatever question or questions you have, post it on the platform that you're on. John, my producer behind the camera, will then go ahead and read me the questions. Then we'll go ahead and do another 24 minutes, and I'll answer your questions again. Great opportunity to get your questions answered. So ready to go whenever you are, John. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. Fun show today. You may have heard of Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson is a billionaire, and he spends about $2 million a year staying healthy. So he's doing a lot of research on this. He has 30 doctors, takes about 100 supplements a day, eats plant-based vegan diet, and he's done a lot of research that a lot of other companies aren't willing to do. And the reason they're not willing to do it, it's not a secret, there's no money in this. He's doing it for himself. Actually, he's made a living out of this now. He's making more of a living out of it because now he has his own protocols. You can hire him. I think the top tier is like $1 million. You could hire him, and he'll coach you. Well, I got my hands on his protocols, and I read through them, and I thought, this is interesting. It's almost everything I've been teaching you guys for the past 40 years. And so we're going to go over that today, what his protocol is, the $2 million protocol. He spends that about every year on his health. We're going to give it to you today, and it's free. So can't beat that. So we said drug companies aren't going to put a lot of money into this. There's no money in people living longer. And it's a business model. It's not a conspiracy. Oh, they're trying to kill us. It's a business model. The business model is sell more of your product, whether it's chiropractic care, whether it's soda, whether it's medicine. The business model is very clear. How do we get more people to partake in our services? And so he said, all right, I don't care what it is. I'm going to objectively look at what it takes to live longer. And he has things that he monitors. He monitors biomarkers, it's called. And so his age is lower than what it is. And he does some things that I agree with. Most everything I agree with. Some things I don't agree with. And I'm going to tell you why I don't agree with this. And we're going to go through it. But his his blood pressure is lower than 90% of most 18-year-olds. Excuse me. Mine is too, by the way. Blood glucose level, grip strength, sugar control. So he monitors several different things to determine, is he getting better? And I like what he's saying. I really do. Again, nobody agrees with everybody on everything. But I agree with probably 95% of what he's doing. The only thing I don't agree with is some of the medications he takes. And I'll tell you why I wouldn't agree with those medications. But take this for what it's worth. This is if you hire him $1 million, but he spends $2 million a year putting this protocol together. And I'm very happy to say that it's everything I've been doing too. So he starts out with lower your resting heart rate before bed. He says, after spending years on working on health, lowering your resting heart rate before bed is the single most important thing you can do for your health. Why? Because sleep is the best performance-enhancing drug in the world, and sleep is everything. Now, how many people have trouble sleeping? Bet you a lot of you do. There are some nights I still have trouble sleeping, but most nights I sleep right through. I'm in good shape. If I drink a lot of water, I got to get up and pee, but usually I go right back to sleep. So he talks about different things you can do to get your sleep where it needs to be. And I've done shows on sleep already in the past. The things not to do: activity, alcohol, stress, late-day caffeine, intense evening exercise, big evening meals, nicotine, dehydration, bedroom temperature, and certain medications like stimulants. I used to play hockey, and we used to have hockey games at night because it was in the summer. It was roller hockey, and it was really hot, so we had them at night. And I remember ending a game like 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night. I couldn't sleep for hours because I had just skated really hard for, 2-3 hours. So you want to slow down your activity in the evening. I still do this. If I have to even go out dancing or something like that, it takes me a while to wind down. So I like his list of things not to do. But one of the things we'll go through other things that I do like, is that give yourself at least 4 hours before your last meal, because digestion takes up a lot of work. Now, certain people have a condition called nocturnal hypoglycemia, which means if you go to bed hungry, you wake up because your blood sugar crashes and your brain says, hey, something's wrong, I'm not getting any fuel. In cases like that, this might not be the best protocol. But if you can, I try to have my last meal on many days, usually 2-3 days a week, around 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then I get hungry. But here's the thing, it's okay to be hungry. And I sleep really great on those nights. And then I wake up hungry, excited to take my supplements in the morning. So it's a neat thing to do. Turn your screens off 60 minutes before bed. Don't be scrolling through your phone. I like it. It's fun to scroll through the phone, but you need to shut off your screens and relax. So what I'll do is I like to sleep with a fan on. I turn the fan on, and I'll do some meditation, some really deep breathing meditation, and then I'm able to drift off to sleep. Works real well. Reading a book before bed, very good. I've written 2 of them. If you want copies of them, I'll send you free PDFs if you want. Just go to drjoe.com and say, I want your copies of your free books, and I'll send them to you. My gift, no charge. Be careful with caffeine. Caffeine has something called a half-life. Half-life of caffeine is 6 hours. That means half of the caffeine is still in your body 6 hours after you drank it. So if you drank a cup of coffee at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, by 9 o'clock at night, half of that caffeine is still in your body. So you got to, if you're going to drink coffee, I wish you wouldn't, but if you do, early morning, organic only. That's it. It's very simple, because caffeine can be a stimulant. Now, I have known people that can drink coffee and go to bed and sleep. I find them strange, because I can't do that. But if they do it, it may be affecting their sleep. They might not even realize it. That's the other thing, too. And red light or amber lights in the evening are better. Blue lights are not. So if you have to have a night light, make sure it's red or amber and not a blue light, because the blue light is going to affect how you sleep. And I laughed at this one. Again, if you're just tuning in, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. We're talking about Brian Johnson, who's a billionaire, and he spends $2 million a year trying to slow down the aging process. And so this is his protocol that we're talking about. And no fights after 5 p.m. Fight in the morning when you're well rested. I thought that was kind of a funny thing. I like that. I don't fight, though. I'm not a fighter. So he talks about the 5 habits that you have to have in order to obtain and maintain good health and slow down the aging process. Sleep, nutrition, exercise, family, friendship, and community, and then avoiding things. And he talks about avoiding fast food, junk food, smoking, nicotine, vaping, excessive alcohol, and even social media, anything that's addictive. If you're addicted to something, it's a prison. Now, what's the difference between addiction and something you like? An addiction adversely affects your life. Something you like is just something you enjoy. So if you drink every night, well, that's probably an addiction. If you go out once a month or twice a month and have a drink with some friends, it's probably not an addiction. So you have to start thinking about what adverse effects is this having on my life, and you need to get rid of it. But I agree with everything he's saying here. The junk food, the smoking, the nicotine, the vaping, the alcohol, and even social media now is a biggie. Because I know sometimes when I get scrolling, I don't want to stop. What's next? What's next? What's next? So it's designed to stimulate and release dopamine in your brain. It's not designed that way. I think it just happened that way. And it releases dopamine in your brain, and you get high. So you want to keep doing it. And you have to be aware of these things. And that's the key, is anything that is a bad habit, you have to be aware. This is a bad habit. What can I do about it? You know, they talk about Alcoholics Anonymous. The first step of getting better is admitting you have a problem. So if you have a problem with scrolling or alcohol, you have to say, I got a problem. What can I do about it? I need to put my phone down an hour before I go to bed, 2 hours before I go to bed. So he's very big on the sleep, as Brian Johnson. And he's talking about how you have to make sleep such a priority in your life. And I kind of agree with that. I don't think I have a problem with that. And his issue was that he was very wealthy, but he ate a horrible diet up to about early 40s. I think he was 42, 43 years old. And he ate the standard American diet. He was overweight, and he made all this money. And he says, well, now what? And it's interesting because you hear about people, the billionaires of the world, that are doing everything they can to try to extend their lives. Because after you have $1 billion, can't spend it. There's no way you could spend that in a lifetime. I guess you could if you made stupid investments. But what else is there? Well, now there's longevity. I have all this money. I want to be around as long as I can to enjoy it. And some people do crazy things, and some people do smart things. And I think what Brian's doing is very smart. He's going down the right road, and he's saying, okay, I'm going to talk about supplements in a second too. These are the things that I need to do to stay well. And it's the exact same things I've been teaching you. Almost exact. Again, if you're just tuning in, he does take medication every day, and I don't agree with some of the medications he's taken. And there are natural ways to get the same effects, but we'll talk about that as we go through today. So he's putting together, he calls it his principles, his protocols, and top 10 habits, of course. And throughout this whole thing, he keeps talking about sleep. So let's talk about mastering the 10 habits that he wants you to master, and I agree with, in order to obtain and maintain good health and longevity. See, that's the thing, too. You can have health and you can have longevity, and I want both. Because I've seen people in their 80s, their 90s, and they're miserable. My mother, toward the end of her life, she had a failed knee surgery that eventually killed her, and it was malpractice. They screwed her up. Malpractice killed my father, too. I get a little passionate about this. And she said toward the end of her life, years before she even passed, she said, I'm ready to go. I don't have any reason to be here anymore, so I'm okay. If I pass, don't be sad. It's okay. Of course I'm sad. But I don't want to be like that. I want to know, what else can I do? What other fun things can I do? Had a patient come in this week. She was great. She was in her 80s. And as soon as I walk in the room, she jumps up and she shakes my hand. She goes, Dr. Joe, what a pleasure to meet you. Oh, my gosh, I can't believe I get to meet you in person. And she went on and on and on. She had this high energy. And the reason she was seeing us is because she was on a ladder and she missed the last 2 steps and fell. Now, this woman's in her 80s. She goes, my son yelled at me, don't go on the ladder, don't go on the ladder. But I do it because I want to. I do it because I can. And I really like that attitude. So we can fix her damage. It's not she didn't do any permanent damage. But I love that attitude. And that's the attitude I want to have. I do have now. And I think it's a great way to be. Because I see a lot of old people where their lives just stink. And he talked about the principles, Brian Johnson, and one of the principles was social activity. And I cannot stress enough how important it is to get out of the house. You got to get out of the house. You got to go meet people. The other day I drove to Shelley Winter. He's a host on one of the stations I'm on, and he had a big birthday party on the south side of Atlanta. I'm on the north side of Atlanta, and it was pouring rain, and I had to drive the major highways. It was pouring rain, and trucks splashing water all over the place. And I thought for a second, it's a long drive. Maybe I shouldn't have done this. And I thought, no, I need to get out and I need to socialize. So understand how important socializing is. So reframe your identity is one of the things he talks about. In this case, you're a professional sleeper. Make sleep your number one priority. Eat your final meal 4 hours before bed. Screens off. 60-minute wind-down routine. Get a consistent bedtime. That's really important too. But not too early. If you go to bed at 7 o'clock, you might wake up at 3. And so if you want to do that, that's fine. Some people wake up at 4 o'clock. He does, works out. That's fine. But just have a consistent bedtime. Regulate your evening light. Curate your sleep environment. 65 to 70 degrees is the ideal temperature studies have shown to sleep in. I like those temperatures. I like putting a lot of blankets on, just that my head's sticking out, and that's how I like to sleep. Other people rather sleep with just a thin blanket on, maybe a little warmer. So even though the research says 65 to 70 degrees is the perfect sleep temperature, find out what works best for you. It don't have to be that just because he said it or research says it doesn't mean it works best for you. And the stimulants before bed. And the other thing he talks about is you can drink herbal teas. But if you wake up and pee a lot, especially men of a certain age, when the prostate starts to swell, you may have to stop drinking around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I did experiments. When do I have to stop drinking? And mine is right around 3 o'clock. Now, you might be 2 o'clock. You might be 5 o'clock. Whatever works best for you. But if you got to get up and pee, it's going to interrupt your sleep. And it's really important to get morning sunlight. My house faces east. So when I wake up, I walk into my, what essentially is a keeping room, dining room, I get the morning sun. So that's a great thing to do. And if you could sit outside, maybe have a cup of tea in the morning while the sun rises, between 10 o'clock and 4 o'clock is when the sun is the most intense. So in the summer, that may not be the best time to be out there. But if you are out in the sun, you want to use a sunscreen. This is my rule on sun. 20 minutes out in the sun, or as soon as your skin starts to feel warm, and then put on your sunscreen. And you want to use a sunscreen that has zinc oxide as the prime ingredient. Now, zinc oxide is going to leave a white film on you. That's ideal. It's physically blocking the sun. Oh, I don't want the little white film. I'm going to the beach. That's the way to do it. Or you can cover up. If you ever go down to the Caribbean, the locals don't wear sunscreen. What do they wear? They wear big baggy pants, big baggy shirts, big hats. They're protecting themselves physically from the sun. That's fine too. But if you can get morning sun before 10 o'clock, maybe 15, 20 minutes, perfect scenario. And you'll feel great too. And if you could get the morning sun and actually do some exercises in the sun, better still. But your neighbors might think, you might think that's a little weird, but I don't care what my neighbors think. They say, oh, he's up, he's moving around. Most neighbors know who I am. They think I'm eccentric anyway. I'm not eccentric. I'm just smart. I know what works and what doesn't. And every day, no matter where I am, people come up to me and ask me health questions. I've been hiking already. I'm out hiking. Somebody recognized, hey, you're Dr. Joe. Can I ask you a question? Everybody has health concerns. So Brian Johnson, that's what we're talking about today, a billionaire who put together this $2 million a year he spends on health. I'm giving you his protocol today. So I'm giving you a $2 million class, no charge. He talks about keeping the body mobile, and the number one thing you can do for body mobility is chiropractic care. Chiropractic care, most effective, least expensive treatment for back pain. If you listened to my show last week, we talked about how to lower healthcare costs. And even if everybody keeps their prices the same, nothing changes, many times you're going to the wrong doctor. And if you go to the wrong doctor, if you go to a barber, you get a haircut. Now, I'm not saying surgeons don't always operate on everybody. They don't, not the ones I use. But many times they don't know there's alternative health care. There's chiropractic, there's cold laser, there's acoustic wave therapy, there's nutrition, building the microbiome in your colon, the bacteria in your colon to build up your immune system. There's so many things we can do aside from traditional medicine, ordinary medicine. And many times doctors don't know that, so they do what they do best. Nothing wrong with that. I want to go to the person who's best in their field, but I want to have somebody who has awareness that there's other things that might also work. So we talked about last week, don't do one or the other, do both, traditional and holistic healthcare. So if you want to get an evaluation, let's see what we can do to get you healthier. Go to my website, drjoe.com. You can book an appointment right now. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge in the Atlanta area. Normally, the first visit is $940. That's an exam, consultation, x-rays, first treatment, and then on a second visit, going over the x-rays and a complete nutrition evaluation. Normally, it's $940. For you, my listeners, I've reduced that to $299. Let's find out what's the best course of treatment for you. Many of you will respond very well to the treatments we do, chiropractic, nutrition, cold laser, acoustic wave therapy. If we need to refer you out, we will. But your investment is minimal to find out exactly what's going to be the best protocol, in our opinion, to get the care that you need. And I've got a list of doctors I work with. All of them I trust. They're not rip-off artists. They're not scammers like a lot of doctors are. We want to get to the cause of your problem. So if you're ready to get well, if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, digestive issues, just go to drjoe.com, book an appointment. Let's get to the cause of your problems. And we accept almost all insurances too. So we're even on a VA referral list. All right, so he talks about the sleep pattern. Exercise. 3 hours of strength training and 3 hours of cardio. And flexibility and mobility exercises. Well, again, if you have bones out of place and you're doing exercise, you're going to build up strong muscles around crooked bones. I want you building up strong muscles around straight bones. Just that simple. We treat a lot of professional athletes, many of whom careers almost ended. I remember Stan Smith, who won Wimbledon. I was at an event, this was probably 20, 30 years ago, and somebody came up to me in the stands and said, "Are you Dr. Joe?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Mr. Smith would like to see you." And I didn't know who Mr. Smith was. Went down to the locker room. There's Stan Smith, Wimbledon champion. And his back was hurting. And so I adjusted his back, and he rolled his shoulder. I said, "What's going on?" Stan goes, "This shoulder, man, it's been giving me problems for years." And he was ready in his final years. And he said, "I don't know what to do about it." I said, "Well, let me take a look at it." So I set his shoulder back in place. And I said, "Don't play tomorrow." It was just round robin tournament type thing. And I go to the event the next day, and there he is playing. And he sees me in the stands. He stops the tournament, points to his shoulder, gives me a thumbs up, and keeps playing. So afterwards, he comes up to me in the stands, which is pretty cool. And he says, "A couple of my friends want to talk to you." Okay. So I go down to the locker room, and there's 8 Wimbledon champions there. Tim Gullickson, Tom Gullickson, Stan, a couple other guys. And they all wanted me to treat them because I worked on Stan's shoulder. So it's a pretty cool story. I got a picture of Stan in my office. He signed it for me. And so professional athletes understand that their body is their machine. So is yours. So if you have a health issue, come see us. So if we're going to work out and you don't have everything lined up properly, you could be doing more damage. That's why if you're going to work out, that's fine. Let's get things lined up properly. It's like tuning up your car. It drives a lot better. And move throughout the day. You want to have at least 5 to 10 minutes of movement every hour. So get up, walk around, when I do radio shows, when I do podcasts, I stand up and I'm able to move around while I'm doing them. And after a meal, every meal, I want you moving for at least 5 minutes. Because what happens is you start digesting your food and the body's going to take sugar from the blood and drive it into the muscles. If you're sitting around, the sugar can be turned into fat. So you don't want to spike your blood sugar. You don't want to raise your insulin levels. That's a whole lecture on insulin resistance. But get up and move after every meal. And that could mean getting up and washing the dishes. It could mean walking around the house. You don't have to do, an intense aerobic activity, but get up and move for about 5 or 10 minutes. Just a walk is fine. And that's going to get the blood out of the sugar out of the blood and into the muscles. And now you're going to have healthier muscles, and you're not going to spike your blood sugar. So there's no reason not to do this. But you want to drive that glucose lower because insulin resistance is linked to just about every disease known to man. Years ago, when I first started this fun journey here, about 45 years ago, we talked about insulin resistance being type 2 diabetes. Now we're finding insulin resistance related to almost everything. Heart disease, diabetes, cancer, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, everything. So keeping that blood sugar low is the key. And I had a patient come in just the other day. And I was in the back of my office, and my secretary comes back, says, the patient up front wants to talk to you about supplements, you put them on. I said, okay. So I walk up front, and the guy looks at me. He says, you remember you put me on Glucose Guard? That's one of our supplements that stabilizes blood sugar. I said, yeah. He said, I've been fighting with my diabetes for 12 years now. He says, I've taken it now for 2 days. He says, my blood sugar is right around 200, which is normal. He says, and I woke up this morning, it was 180. He says, I've never had it that low ever. He says, thank you for creating that supplement because it has things like berberine in it and cinnamon and other things to stabilize blood sugar. He says, and everybody says this, I'm mad because my doctors haven't told me about this. That's not what doctors are trained in. Doctors are trained in medicine. I'm trained in nutrition. I'm not trained in medicine. So that's why we talk about combining the two to get you the best health care possible. Because I promise you this, if you think you have problems now, money problems, or relationship problems, family problems, whatever it is, house, the radiator's leaking in your car, whatever it is, if you're diagnosed with one of the big diagnoses, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, all of a sudden all your problems go away. You have one problem, heart disease, dementia, cancer, whatever it is. So I want to be as proactive as I can and I just had a full body scan. We're going to talk about that in a second. Full body scan. And I had a few things came up. It was interesting. But now I know to be proactive on it. I have no risk of cancer, no risk of heart disease. I mean, according to the test, perfectly fine. My bones are healthy. My muscles are healthy. But I did have some other issues. And so I had the opportunity now to say, okay, let's go ahead and start working on these things. Very simple. That's why it's important. So if you're just tuning in, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. We're talking today about Brian Johnson. He's a billionaire who spends $2 million a year on his health because his goal is to live as long as possible. And I got a copy of his protocols, and I'm giving them to you, and it's almost everything we talk about. Now, he talks about nutrition. I like this phrase here. He says, every calorie must fight for its life. Reviewed the scientific literature, and he's finding that children need higher carbs when they're growing. Older adults might need higher protein. Athletes might need more carbs. I know we keep talking about more protein for carbs, more protein for athletes. It might be carbs. And then people with specific health issues have specific needs. So I got to go to break. If you have any questions, don't go anywhere. We got the good stuff coming up. If you want to make an appointment, just go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Send me your health questions, any health question, anytime, day or night, drjoe.com. I will answer it personally for you. All the supplements we're going to talk about coming up are on the website, drjoe.com as well. And if you do me a favor, follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn. We post twice a day. You're going to get 2 health tips a day absolutely free. And if you like podcasts, the podcast is free too. It's Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it. Folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito, drjoe.com. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to be right back. Okay. What do you have? What do you have?
I've been cooking my vegetables and potatoes in coconut oil recently, but should I be concerned with the fat?
Well, you don't want to use a lot of it. I mean, but no, extra virgin organic coconut oil is the best oil to cook in. That's what I cook in. Yeah, so you're fine.
I really enjoy sweet peas more than other greens. Can I enjoy them without limitations? Are
Sure.
they high in fiber?
No, they're fine. No problem with sweet peas. I like them too. What I'll do sometimes is, it's funny you say that. Sweet peas are my backup lunch plan. So normally I have salad every day. Just had a salad today. And I have a salad every day, maybe something to go along with it. But if I just don't have the salad or whatever it was, and I have frozen organic peas in my freezer, I'll take the peas, boil them up, add a little extra virgin organic olive oil, salt, pepper, and oregano, maybe some garlic. And now I have like a pea casserole type thing. And I'll have that as my backup emergency lunch. So, no, you're fine with that. Just make sure they're organic. You're going to get more bang for your buck. What else?
What are the healthiest birthday cakes? Are any icings okay?
I don't think there is a healthy birthday cake. Healthiest is different than healthy. Okay, so let's clear that up now. Healthy means it's going to give you a lot of benefit. Healthiest is just the best choice of all birthday cakes. I would say gluten-free cake, sweetened with, or organic, certainly organic wheat if you're going to use any type of wheat, sweetened with like allulose or stevia instead of sugar. Icings, I can't, unless you're going to make it with stevia, which I can't imagine is going to be very tasty. Can't think of a good icing, to be honest with you. Unless maybe you can take some, take some stevia and melt it in some hot water and drizzle it on. But if you think about like a buttercream icing or something like that, that's going to be a lot of bad fats, and I just can't think of a good one for that. So healthiest would be an organic flour or gluten-free organic with an alternative sweetener. That would be your best choice. But this is what's going to happen. Let me explain to you how the body works. When I was young, my mother was overweight, my father was overweight, my sister was overweight, I was overweight. And my mother, whenever we were very poor, my father was disabled. So whenever she put the oven on to bake a chicken or something, she'd put a cake in the oven. Well, I hate to waste the heat. That was her thought process. Now, that's how fat people think. I used to be fat. I can say the F word. I make up excuses on why I'm going to make a cake. Well, I don't want to waste the heat. So that's the addiction. We talked about that earlier. And so I was fat. And there was always cake around the house. And man, my mother was a great cook. So there was always cake around the house. But as you start to change your diet, those cravings go away. I don't crave sweets anymore. And in fact, if somebody brings me something like, Valentine's Day, somebody brought me an organic, gluten-free cupcake. It was good. I enjoyed it. But that was it. One small cupcake, I was done. I didn't have to go eat more. So, yeah, just as you change your diet, you won't ask that question anymore. So, what else?
Where are your favorite places to hike?
Favorite place to hike? Wow. In the Atlanta area, Gold Branch Trail I like because it's along the water, along the Chattahoochee River. There's a place called the Bamboo Forest. That's a great hike. That's really up and down. It's really cool to hike the Bamboo Forest along the Chattahoochee. Red Top Mountain is a great place to hike. I like that. If you want to get real serious, not real serious, but a fun hike, it's called the Hike Inn, Lenfoot Hike. And it's up at Amicalola Falls. It starts there. It's a 5-mile hike, and at the end of it, there's a hotel. And you spend a night, you have dinner, and little tiny rooms, bunk beds. It's really cool. And then next morning, you wake up and hike back. So that's a fun hike for a weekend. During the week, too. If you have time during the week, it's great because it's not crowded then. Let me see. Stone Mountain is fun, but I like walking through the woods. That's all stone there and everything there. So those are just a few of my favorites. I mean, I go out hiking all the time, so it's a lot of fun. So, what else?
Who is the second best doctor in the world?
It's a choice. It's a draw. It's between Dr. Kat, Dr. Amy, Dr. Irwin, Dr. Chris, and Dr. Jen. Those are my associates. And the reason I say that is they're all trained by me, and they're my doctors. So I go to them with every health issue I possibly have, and then we sit down and discuss it. So if you come to our office, which everyone should, by the way, you're being treated by the doctors who treat me. And if you listen to my Sunday night show I do on WSB Radio, my mother said to me a long time ago, she said, go to your doctor's doctor because you know they're good. And so I love that line. And so I use that line on my show, and a voice comes over and says, he's probably your doctor's doctor, Dr. Joe. And so I would go to my doctor's doctor, and that would be the ones I just mentioned at drjoe.com. So, and I trust all of them with my life. So what else?
That is all.
Awesome. Good question. I've never been asked that question all the years. All right, let's see. We got a lot to cover here. Let's start whipping through this thing here. Let me just take a look and see how much we got. Yeah. Okay. I think we're good. All right. Ready for part 2. Hey, folks. Dr. Joe Esposito. If you just joined me, welcome. If you stayed with me, I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. Somebody asked me the other day, they said, how does your brain work? And I said, I don't know what you mean. They said, well, you're not young. And you rattle off this information just like you're reading it from a book. How do you have all this stuff? I take really good care of my brain. And this is something, we're talking about Brian Johnson today, if you're just joining us. Brian Johnson is a billionaire who spends $2 million a year on his health. And I'm going over his protocol. Most of it I've taught you already in the past 40 years. So it's nice to know we're way ahead of the curve. We'd have to spend $2 million every year to give you the information that I've been giving you for 40 years. But I do a supplement protocol for my brain, because the brain, it needs exercise, stimulation, and nutrition. So exercise is listening to this show, doing a show like this, following my podcast, Dr. Joe for the Health of It. Listen, because you're going to get all this new information, and that's a great exercise for the brain. Oxygenation is making sure you get good blood flow, and I take Dr. Joe's nitric oxide support because it opens up my blood supply to all the parts of the brain. Had somebody send me an email the other day, and they said, well, I heard nitric oxide can cause kidney stones. No, beet powder, which is oftentimes used to produce nitric oxide, has oxalates that can lead to kidney stones. We use citrulline, which does not have oxalates, which will not cause kidney stones. But I take nitric oxide every day because as you get older, your nitric oxide levels drop. And I want to get my brain all the circulation that it can. So exercise will help with that. But nitric oxide support is great for that too. I also take glutathione because it helps my liver, because the liver filters out all the waste products in my body. I do a daily Purify. If somebody has a liver issue, I get them on daily Purify for about 60 days. It's a big container of it. I do about once every quarter just to clean out my liver and make sure my brain is working the best it possibly can. And of course, the minimum supplements everybody should be taking is Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. And then I take vitamin D3 with K2 as well, because K2 helps take the calcium building up in my arteries and bring it into my bones. And I had a full body scan a couple of weeks ago, and there's zero plaquing in any of my arteries, including my brain. I even added extra. It was an extra fee, but I wanted a whole brain scan done. And they said, your brain is unbelievable. It's so healthy for any age. So good job on the brain. And I have a traumatic brain injury. I was hit by a car when I was 10. And I was in a coma for several days. And plus, I played football and hockey and street fights. So I did a lot of damage to my brain. And because I did the protocols, my brain is now as healthy as anybody else's at any age. So it's really important to keep that brain working because that's the thing that keeps you young. As the brain starts to deteriorate, you sit around more, you don't move as much. So it's really important to keep the brain working. Anyway, back to Brian Johnson. This is his $2 million a year protocol. Skincare. This is something a lot of people don't talk about, but it's really important to take care of your skin. Get sunlight early in the morning or late afternoon, not midday. If you go in midday, just wear a big hat, zinc oxide sunscreen, and cover up your body. Getting excited here. Avoid direct sun exposure. We talked about that between 10 and 4. Prioritize your sleep and stay away from the bad foods. I call them the 7 deadly sins of nutrition: alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. When it comes to soap, Castile soap is the one I use. Dr. Bronner's is one brand. There's other brands too. I just bought one. I thought I'd try something different. And they use coconut oil in it. But coconut oil gets hard in the winter. I couldn't use it in the winter. Now the weather's warming up. It melts and I could use it again. But I like Dr. Bronner's. Very easy, soft on the skin, and has oil in it. And oil dissolves oil. Likes dissolve like. So I like it a lot. That's my favorite. He does cold laser. We have a laser bed here in the office, and I use my laser bed a couple of times a week and just lay there for about 20 minutes. And boy, I tell you, I get the best sleep. I drift off into almost like a trance when I'm under this red light therapy bed. But it feels so good. It activates the collagen in my skin. And he's going to talk about a little later, acoustic wave therapy. So all the things we've been teaching you, we have the red light bed, cold laser, and acoustic wave therapy. Been doing it for years. Brian Johnson, the billionaire, has determined that those are all good things to use on a regular basis, which is kind of cool. Oral care, I've stressed this so much. I water pick every day, highest pressure possible, and I get in there unless, if you have bleeding gums, you want to use a lower pressure. Floss every day. Do not use a floss that has wax on it. That wax has endocrine disruptors in it. It gets right into your blood system. Endocrine disruptors mess with your hormones. Unwaxed floss, water pick, electric toothbrush, tongue scraper. I was at a party the other day, and this young doctor comes up to me. He says, "You're Dr. Joe." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Sir, it's an honor to meet you." Now, I know I'm old when the young doctors are calling me sir. And he said, "Because of you, I use a tongue scraper." I thought, what a strange thing to remember me by. And he said, "I use my tongue scraper every day," and I do it too. I use it twice a day. It takes seconds. You can buy a tongue scraper, I think they were $5, $10, whatever, on Amazon. And just, it's a little hook, a little U-shape. You just drag it across your tongue 3 or 4 times. Do it every day. Do it twice a day. That helps detoxify the body, too, because your body sends toxins through the tongue. That's why you wake up in the morning, your tongue is all coated with junk. So use your tongue scraper as well. If you grind your teeth, get yourself a really good mouth guard. But here's my point. Why are you grinding your teeth? Is your jaw out of alignment? We can actually adjust the jaw, and sometimes you have to adjust the jaw to put it back in alignment. There we go. I think I got it. So we got to adjust the jaw. We got to find out why you're having tension. Is it pain at night? If you have pain, chiropractic care, most effective, least expensive treatment for that. Maybe it's a joint issue. We need some acoustic wave therapy. Breaks up scar tissue and increases circulation. Had a patient come in the other day, and when he first came in, he couldn't raise his arm at all. Like he was doing a Queen's wave, like his upper arm against his body. And we did, I think, 4 treatments of acoustic wave and like 5 adjustments. And I said, "Hey, how's that shoulder coming along?" Because I saw him on the first visit. I hadn't seen him since. He goes, "Doc, look at this." And he raised his arm all the way up over his head, no restriction at all. He said 2 different surgeons said I needed surgery. And they were right. Because in their world, nothing would work except surgery. Let's come into a different world and try something new. He said, "Doc, you saved me tens of thousands of dollars, 6 weeks of rehab, and not being able to work." He says, "and I can come in here and get treated in 10 minutes. So if you have health issues, folks, come see us. Let's see if there's anything we can offer to the options of treatment that are available. And chances are we will. Nutrition, chiropractic, acoustic wave, cold laser, red light therapy. Let's dig in there and get things fixed. So if you do grind your teeth, let's find out why you grind your teeth. Get a good mouth guard in the meantime, but let's find out why. And, of course, reduce your sugar. If you use things like monk fruit, xylitol, allulose, stevia, they do not feed the bacteria in your mouth like sugar does. So you definitely want to switch to them. If you have acid reflux, acid can come up all the way in your esophagus and eat away at your teeth. I had this for years when I was a kid. Went to the dentist. He goes, "Man, your gums are all worn out. What the hell are you doing?" I said, "I don't know what I'm doing." Turns out I had acid reflux. And once I got my stomach fixed, I got my teeth fixed, no more problem there. So if you have heartburn, acid reflux, burping, gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, it can actually be adversely affecting your throat and your teeth. And my team of doctors have a really good technique. I taught them to pull the stomach down away from the diaphragm, and it works wonders in almost every case. I have this condition. Every now and then I'll notice I'm burping a lot, I'm bloated, my breath doesn't smell right, and my stomach is up against my diaphragm. So we can actually adjust or pull the stomach away from the diaphragm. Phenomenal how well it works, and very, very low stress. And we talked about the water pick, of course. Make sure you do that, and make sure you're scraping too. I wear a red light cap every day because as I got older, I started to lose some hair. Now, I've tried several things. So far, nothing has grown all my hair back, but my hair has stopped falling out because I use a red light cap. I'm going to try peptides coming up soon. I'll let you know how that works. But it's a red light cap. They're not cheap. They're about $800. And when I wake up in the morning, I put it on, I pop it on, I leave it on for 20 minutes. I forget I even have it on. And it talks to you. 10 minutes remaining. 5 minutes remaining. Your treatment is done. And so I just take it off, charge it up, and do it the next day too. So that's just another thing you can do. It gets in there. Now, one of the things, we're talking about Brian Johnson, a billionaire who spends $2 million a year on his health care. He takes minoxidil. Now, minoxidil helps prevent hair fallout. Yes, it works. However, as soon as you stop using it, the hair falls out again. And it does have sexual side effects. So one of the things I don't agree with him is taking that. So there's a couple other medications we'll get to that I don't agree with either. But we're talking about Brian Johnson and his protocol that he uses. So I'm giving you the $2 million health protocol today. Clean water, I don't think there's an excuse for that. I have a whole house water filter with 2 phases. It filters out microplastics as well as everything else. Not cheap, but worth it. It's a couple of $1,000, but well worth it because every drop of water in my house is filtered, including like even a toilet. Because if there's chlorine in the water, little chlorine is getting into the air. Now, again, that's not going to kill you. But this is just a bunch of different things we do to stay healthy. And if I can avoid chlorine at all costs, I do. I live in a place where they had a chlorine pool for years. COVID came around. They couldn't get chlorine. They switched to salt water. Love it. So in the summer, I'll take a walk down to my pool, jump in, swim around for 10, 15, 20 minutes. Great for keeping the body mobile. Great for building up muscle. And I'm out in the sun, too. I usually do it in the morning. I get my morning sun, and then I go back home and start my day. Now, not everybody has access to a saltwater pool, but at least get a whole house water filter. If you do swim in chlorine, go home, wash off with that Castile soap, get that chlorine off your skin. It's getting absorbed very quickly. We need to stop that. He talks about, for women and men, different protocols. I won't go into that because it gets a little in-depth if you're ovulating and things like that. So we're talking today about Brian Johnson's protocol. And what he does, he gets his blood drawn every about 3 to 6 months. That might be a little excessive, but okay, he can do that. Full body MRI. I do this. I loved the last time I had one. Got some great information about my own body. I found out some things I can do, but I also found out what I don't have to worry about. And it validated almost everything I've been doing. The chiropractic care, the nutrition, the supplements, the protocols. No osteoporosis, zero risk of cancer, zero risk based on the scan. There's always some risk. Zero risk of a heart attack. Brain was working like a child's brain. It's pretty cool stuff. And let me tell you, that takes a lot of stress off you when you find out that things are working really good. Then I had blood work done too. Blood work was great. Very exciting. And then you can compare the blood work to the MRI findings. Now, again, this is an investment. I can't imagine a better investment than your health. I have patients come to me on a regular basis. Well, Dr. Joe, I've got a $5,000 deductible. My insurance won't let me come see you. I hear this. My insurance won't let me come see you. Your insurance you can go wherever the heck you want. Your insurance isn't going to pay for it. But many times, it's cheaper to see us, because the work we do is so inexpensive, it's cheaper to see us than use your insurance. $5,000 deductible, $100 or $50 copays, whatever, it's cheaper not to use your insurance. So just because your insurance says we don't cover something, talk to the clinic, whether it's us or somebody else, and find out what options there are. You may be very surprised that your insurance is useless in many cases. Get your skin checked, dentist every 6 months. I do that. Eye doctor annually. I do that. Monitor your glucose. I do that. Self-exam for testicles and breasts. It's really a good idea to do that too, just to make sure there's no lumps or bumps or growth or anything like that. So really, so far, the only investment that we're talking about that he does that you can do would be annual MRI. And if you want to know the company I use, you can send me an email, drjoe.com. I'll send you the company I use. Blood draw, we can send you out for the blood draw. Sometimes your insurance pays for it. Sometimes you have to pay for yourself. It's relatively inexpensive. And then a whole house water filter. The sleep you can do yourself. You have to eat anyway. You might as well eat good foods. When you change your diet, you're going to save so much money on drugs and healthcare that you're going to have excess money even if you buy a complete supplement protocol. He takes 100 a day. I take about 15 or 20 a day. Even if you go to the extreme of 20 supplements a day, you're still going to save money by getting healthy. So don't give me the excuse I can't afford it. You can't afford not to. And you got to keep the joints in line, because he talks a lot about the chemistry of the body, but the structure of the body. If bones are out of place, they rub up against each other and they wear out. How often? 100% of the time. If you have a bone out of place, the only promise I can make you is it will get worse and it will become arthritic. That's it. So if you have arthritis, and the doctor never told you why, because I've never had a doctor ever tell a patient why, is because the bones are out of place rubbing up against each other. So if a bone is out of place, what do? Put it back in place. If the stomach is pushed up against the diaphragm causing acid reflux, what do? Pull the stomach back down. If you have a bad diet and it's causing inflammation and leaky gut syndrome, what do? Change your diet. It sounds so novel, but it just makes so much sense. If I have a disease that's related to inflammation, which is all diseases, what should I do? Reduce the inflammation of my body. Cut out the alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, artificial sweetener, breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas. If bones are out of place, they're rubbing up against each other, causing inflammation. Bring down that inflammation. Stabilize the blood sugar. You can do it with supplements like Dr. Joe's Glucose Guard. You can do it with vinegar. Any type of vinegar will stabilize blood sugar. Cinnamon, Kylan cinnamon, stabilizes blood sugar. So there's so many, fiber, so many things we can do to stabilize the blood sugar and bring down that insulin resistance. Wow. And this is the guy who spends $2 million a year, and I agree with him. Not a bad gig. He talks about taking creatine every day. I take creatine every day. You should too. Creatine is necessary for fuel for the muscles, but the brain also needs creatine as well to run properly. Creatine is by far one of the cheapest supplements there are. 5 grams a day, which is a little tiny scoop, and I just mix it in with Super Greens and Essential Source, 10 drops of vitamin D3 with K2 and magnesium. And that's what I have every morning as my shake. You should too. That, if you did just that, that's less than $5 a day. Why wouldn't you do it? And all those supplements are on our website, drjoe.com. And if I talk too fast, you get lost somewhere, send me an email and I'll send with a question. I'll send you the protocols. You got to build up the microbiome, the good bacteria in your digestive system. You do that by eating fiber. Bacteria eat fiber, and then they make more baby bacterias. That's the food. That's the aphrodisiac for bacteria in your colon. And then I take Dr. Joe's probiotics as well, and I take Dr. Joe's Essential Source, which has probiotics in it as well. So it's not hard to do. It's very easy. And these are all the things I've been doing, and this is what Brian Johnson's agreeing with as well. Air quality is really important. Very, very dear friend of mine almost died. And she moved with her husband to a house in Atlanta, and the house had mold in it. And she almost died from it. And her husband didn't believe her. You know, he thought she was just being lazy. And their son, unfortunately, was in the hospital for a week and almost died as well from the mold in the house. So if your house smells musty, if you want, I can send you the name of a guy who I use who does a scan. He charges a couple $100 to test your house. But if you have mold in the house, you need to get it remediated or move out. One of my coworkers, she has a compromised immune system, and so we keep her healthy with supplements, chiropractic care. And she was just getting sicker and sicker, and I couldn't figure out why. And she was traveling a lot. And I thought, well, she's staying in hotels, whatever it is. And then finally, she had her air conditioner leak. And when they came to fix the air conditioner, it got into the kitchen, so she said, we're going to have to tear out this floor in the kitchen. And when they did, mold everywhere. There was an active leak, separate from this air conditioner. This air conditioner discovered it, and she said we had to get out right away. They condemned the house because there was so much mold in the house. And so she's getting that fixed, and hopefully that's going to solve her health problems. But if your house smells musty or moldy, you have mold. It's just that simple. There's no getting around it. You can't cover it up with an air spray. You have to get to the source of that mold. I can go on and on about mold, but it's so, so dangerous. Brian Johnson takes a dry sauna every day. If you're so inclined to invest in one, send me an email. I'll send you the one I have. Then they're about, $2,000 for a private sauna. I know that sounds expensive, but it's amazing how it slows down the aging process. Phenomenal. He does shockwave therapy 5 minutes 3 times a week. And this is what I've been talking about, acoustic wave therapy. Sends really fast impulses into the joint, breaks up scar tissue, increases circulation, and recruits stem cells into the area. I have a torn up knee from hockey, and I do acoustic wave therapy every couple of weeks on it. Takes about 10 minutes. It's a little uncomfortable, but he does it every week just to stimulate stem cell production. So I never thought to do it as a prophylactic measure. I always thought it as a proactive measure. Like if I have an injury, treat it. Brian Johnson's saying 5 minutes a day, 3 times a week. To build up those stem cell production in your body. Love the idea. It was great. So I stole that from him. And then he talks about eating a plant-based diet. And I've been preaching plant-based diet now for over 40 years. And if you don't know what to eat, you can send me an email through my website, drjoe.com, and just say, so what can I eat? And I'll send you a lecture that I did. If you want a copy of my books, Eating Right for the Health of It and Prescription for Extreme Health, I will send you the PDFs. I'm not going to send you a hard copy. PDFs of the books absolutely free. And they're whole books, a couple of hundred pages. And the first one, Eating Right for the Health of It, is full of recipes. So if you don't know what to eat, I'm going to send you the recipes and then a protocol on how to implement them absolutely free. No strings attached. Just send me an email. I'll send it back to you. And the reason I do all this is because I want to get this information out to you. I know this stuff. I want you to know it. It turns out Brian Johnson, the millionaire, the billionaire, who spends $2 million a year on his own health with 30 different doctors, is doing almost exactly what I've been teaching you guys. Okay? Now, as far as I did say, I'm almost out of time here. He does take some medications, Brian Johnson, and he takes thyroid because he has a genetic thyroid issue. Absolutely fine with that. He takes metformin. He's experimenting with that, so I'm not a big fan of that. I would take Dr. Joe's Glucose Guard to stabilize the blood sugar. He takes hair growth issues. Some of the side effects of that can be erectile dysfunction and sexual problems, so I'm not a fan of that. He does take 2 different medications for erectile health. Usually old men take these things. I'm not a fan of that. I would take Dr. Joe's nitric oxide support instead. So he has a couple of medications. I'd probably send him an email, send him some samples, let him know that there are options out there. Talks about getting sunlight, of course. And he takes a drink that has minerals in it to get your electrolytes up. I use air-dried sea salt for that. Air-dried sea salt, Celtic salt. They have, I know Baja Gold, I think has 82 different minerals in it. You can just take a pinch of Baja Gold. In fact, I just use it as my table salt. And you're going to get all these minerals, these trace minerals that most of us don't get in our diet. And so if you're an athlete, instead of buying a sports drink, you could just take, a pinch of salt, throw it in some water, drink it. You're going to get your own sports drink, way cheaper. No toxic chemicals, no artificial dyes. And so that's great. But just get Baja Gold or Celtic salt. If you're going to use Himalayan salt, I'm not a fan. Because if we found that the ones coming from China oftentimes were contaminated with heavy metals. Other parts of the world, probably okay. But Celtic salt is going to be my best bet, and Baja Gold. And you can get them online. I don't sell them. But those are the salts I use every day. And you should, too, to get your minerals in. It's really important. So a couple other things he does. He does a hyperbaric oxygen chamber. I think I can refer you to somebody who has them if you want to do it. It's expensive, but I agree with it. I think it's a good idea. And then he talks about his microbiome, building up the bacteria in his colon. Because if you have good microbiome, you're producing something called short-chain fatty acids. One of the short-chain fatty acids is butyrate. Butyrate helps the immune system. It helps strengthen up your colon to make it stronger. It activates the GLP-1 production in your body. That's the drug everybody's taking to curb their appetite. So it'll help with appetite control. And so we used to say fiber makes you feel full. Well, it turns out fiber produces butyrate, which activates the GLP-1s, which goes into your hypothalamus, which makes you feel full. So it wasn't the fiber that made you feel full. It was the process that the fiber created that made you feel full. And that's why it's so important to make sure you take care of the bacteria in your colon. So if you're drinking alcohol, you can be killing it off. Sugar can be killing it off. Chlorine in your water. Glyphosate, weed killer, can get in there. My antibiotics. So you got to take care of that. All right, folks, I'm almost out of time. I got not much more to cover here. But anyway, if you're just tuning in, if you're wondering what I was yapping about, Brian Johnson, billionaire, spends $2 million a year on his health, and you can hire him. You can hire him for a personal consultant for $1 million a year. I just gave you essentially the protocol. There's a couple of things in there that we didn't cover, like the hyperbaric oxygen. But you can follow probably 80 to 90%, 95% of what he does. It's what I've been teaching you for the past 40 years. So we're going to put this whole talk in the Dr. Joe is Right column. Now, if you have any questions, send them to me through my website, drjoe.com. All the supplements we talked about, Super Green, Essential Source, Nitric Oxide, B-Complex, Omega-3 fatty acids, and a bunch of others are on the website, drjoe.com. At least, folks, Super Greens, Essential Source, B-Complex, and glutathione every day. Any questions, drjoe.com. Book an appointment to come see me, drjoe.com. I want to be your doctor. Thanks for tuning in. All right. That's kind of all over the place, that show. But it's everything we've been teaching them, John, so we'll say we were right. What do you got for me?
Are the tongue scrapers on the back of toothbrushes okay?
They're fine. They're okay. I like the actual curved one. I think you get a lot more done. But yeah, anything to scrape that tongue, man. Even a spoon if you had to. Just get a stainless steel spoon and scrape it. But the tongue scrapers are cheap. Just use that. Get one. It's worth it. What else?
I brush my tongue with baking soda. It seems to work well.
That's okay, but you're kind of spreading around the goop. I used to do that too. And I asked my dental hygienist about it. And she said, you're spreading around the goop. You really want to get the tongue scraper and really scrape it off. So it's okay to do it. Tongue scraper's way better. Or do both. Again, tongue scrapers are cheap, folks, and it takes literally seconds, maybe 3 seconds to do it. So what else?
I have suffered with a lot of perimenopause symptoms. How can I lose the 2 stones I have put on during this time? What are the best foods to eat to help during this time?
Send me an email through the website, drjoe.com, and I'll send you a show I did on women's health issues and talks about perimenopause. And then, if we want to, we can do what's called a Dutch test. We could find out where your hormones are unbalanced, and we could mail it to you, actually, and you could just send it back in. Because you said 2 stones, so I'm assuming you're not in the U.S. But if you send me an email, I'll send you the protocol for women. I'll send you the protocol on weight loss as well. Happy to do that for you. What else?
Can we eat rolled oats without cooking them? A lot of plant-based desserts use them raw. I found them harder to digest even when I make my own granola.
They really are hard to digest, and if you're going to do oats, they have to be organic only. And the reason is that we spray glyphosate on most of our oats in the United States. Europe, they don't do it because they're smarter than us. And also, we spray it on our wheat. So if you're going to do wheat or oats, it has to be organic, but I would prefer you don't even eat the wheat. If you're going to do oats, steel-cut organic is the best. Steel-cut rolled oats is okay. It just has to be organic. So if you have trouble digesting, you can take Dr. Joe's digestive enzymes and try it, or don't eat it raw. That's another option. But try Dr. Joe's digestive enzymes. I take one every day with every meal I eat, unless I eat a salad. And I tell you, man, it's really one of the secrets of slowing down the aging process. In fact, I got to put that in when I do my live show on this. Enzymes. There you go. All right, what else, John?
My mother-in-law says she has essential tremors. She has limited hand dexterity and poor balance. What should we know about it, and what should be our first steps towards treating it?
Come see us. That's a whole workup we need to do. With the essential tremors, you don't have enough you don't have enough dopamine. The dopamine suppresses the tremors. Many times they'll give you L-Dopa as a drug for that. Studies have shown that velvet beans work just as well as the L-Dopa. I've never had velvet beans. I've just seen the research. I've looked them up online. It usually comes in a powder. But velvet beans have as much L-Dopa precursor as the drugs do in many cases. So velvet beans work real well. And then come see us, too, if you can, because it could be pinched nerves in the neck causing it as well. But we've got to get the dopamine levels up because dopamine suppresses the tremors. 90% of your brain is suppressing the other 10%. Otherwise, we'd be all over the place. And so when that balance goes off, that's when we start to see some of those intention tremors. Could be a circulatory issue, could be a pinched nerve, but action step number 1 right now, velvet beans. And start taking it every day. So, what else?
Can spinach be hard on the joints?
Yes, spinach is high in oxalates, and oxalates can bind to calcium and create oxalates can build up into joints. It can also cause kidney stones. So if you eat spinach and it hurts, you're also running the risk of increasing your kidney stones. You're probably going to have the same issue with beets because beets are high in oxalates as well. In cases like that, you can try Dr. Joe's digestive enzymes and see how it does, or just there's so many other foods you don't have to eat spinach. But I like spinach. So. What else?
Do you recommend honeydew melon and cantaloupe, and which one do you like the most?
They're both great. I like honeydew personally if I had to pick one. You want to eat them by themselves because melons digest very quickly. So, example, if I'm going to eat a honeydew melon or a cantaloupe, it's going to be broken down and passed out of my stomach in about 20 minutes. If I were to eat something on top of that heavy, let's say bacon and eggs, which I don't eat, of course, scrambled tofu, that can take hours to get broken down. So if you're going to eat melon on top with heavy proteins, the melon's going to start to ferment and can actually cause an alcohol reaction in your gut. So, if you're going to eat them alone. But I like them both, actually. But I do like honeydew better. So. I just have flashbacks of being a kid, my mother feeding it to me. I like that. It's good memories. What else, John?
That is all.
All right, thanks, guys. Please follow me on social media, whatever platform you're on. Please follow me on all the other ones. I love doing this for you guys. I really enjoy my time with you, but we need to keep building our platform because you're going to lose members and stuff like that. So all platforms, subscribe to the podcast, Dr. Joe for the Health of It, and any questions, drjoe.com, or come see me, drjoe.com. And I hope to